Well, we got this lance in here. It's not getting a roof, but the customer had some concerns about the jacks that come down, like the ones that were right here. So we got, that's what we're investigating. And also he was concerned about, from what I gather, he was concerned about the slide out. And we were looking at that as well. And all we can see is this rail going down. This part, it's just got a slight sag in it, you know, probably 3/16 of an inch from what I measured. But there is a frame in there. Let's see if I can get a light in there. There is a metal frame right there that runs all the way down. It runs all the way down. So we've been, as I've been taking this, you know, extending it and retracting it, it hasn't budged. And we checked the rollers, so the rollers are fine. So the only thing we can see right now is just this isn't set right. That's about all. But all it is just two pieces of cheap aluminum, and that was foam. Anyway, I just dug it out to see what was going on in there. So this was where the jack was. I put this here just to support it, so we, you know, can open this up as a precaution. But in here we had a piece of plastic. And if you, I don't know if you can probably see that, but as you look up there, this thing looks like it kind of walks, comes out a little bit. And I don't know if that was why they put the plastic in there or not. But maybe this side will be a little different. See how they got this piece of plastic molding in here? That's all that is. It's just plastic molding. It looks like they built it out, but in doing so, it's not flush with the wall right here. So these are all the things we're kind of investigating to see what's going on, and if these are in really tight and secure. They seem like they tightened up, but typically, see, that's just a piece of cheap alloy aluminum, but they do have a piece of wood stock in there. Is that wood stock split? I don't know. So that's what we're looking at, and that's what I got so far. So let me do some more investigation, and I will keep you updated. All right, we have figured out what the problem is. There is a sag in the inside beam, but this is how strong, this is how they welded everything together. See, there's no weld there. Watch out, take it to my brute strength. Get out! It's gone right there. No steroids needed. That's right. So now we get it back to the plate. See what they did is try to glue all this glue onto that. And then the plate I want is right here. There's another one right in here. Hopefully you can see all this. There we go. There's a plate back here. This plate here we're going to expose. So we got to get in there and dig it all out. And I got to put some strength in there. We're going to put another beam in there. It's going to be stout and strong. It could be no sissy crap like this. We're going to make it tough. You know, we're going to get rid of all this estrogen stuff. We're going to put testosterone in there, damn it. Check out this rot we got in here. You see all that? Goes all the way up there. And all I got these low alloy aluminum trying to hold everything together in this slide. This is the aluminum piece that they're trying to get all the strength on, and that's just not strong enough to carry all that. So we're going to put a piece of steel in there. But we've got some serious delam up in here. I don't know how far it goes up. You have to pull it all out. But when we go on the other side, we got the same. Have to unleash all that. You get all the same. I'll have to release. This gets tucked down inside here, so I'd have to pop that loose. But I mean, it's all over. You can see it here too. See, all this is free. All this. And then when you go up, you can see it right here, all the way up around the door there. And when you go on this side, I don't know if you can, I'm gonna see how that's bouncing like that. That means there's delam. You can see the numbers, that letter C up there, the Lance logo. Lance, supposed to be the top quality deal. So that's all delammed, at least all the way up to there. I had to almost take this whole wall off to do that repair. And I don't know if they want to do all that. It's all rotted down in here. You see all in that. This is aluminum, but that's just a little bit of rot that was as they were built it out from in here. See, so I tell people I am the hardest working man in show business. I work all the time, and I get some people say, "Is my coach ready?" Hey, I'm doing the best I can, and I'll prove it to you. What does that say? December 25th? Merry Christmas. I'm in here on Christmas trying to figure out this daggum thing so I can put it back together. So, anyhow, we're going to be looking at putting a steel beam in here and then getting all this back together so the slide will come out right, proper. What's happening is when it goes in, it actually closes like this and the top is out. It was out about 2 1/4 inches or so, a little better than 2 inches way at the top up there. So we're going to pull this back in, obviously, and we'll balance it out. But it was really coming from here. I already determined that when we jacked it up. It just, man, it fell right in place. It was, so now I'm trying to negotiate all this. See all that's rotted too in there? Let's try to get that flashlight again. Hey, look at all that rot in there. That's a lot of rot. And if you look up there, you can start seeing some of these little ripples like this. I don't know if you can see behind the ladder. Look at that ladder. There you go. You maybe always see it there. See them? There's something going on behind there. And this isn't on the work order. This is not a new roof. This was just to fix this. Fix a couple of jacks right here. And, you know, put a piece of steel in there. Put a couple of jacks in there, you know, to get the, a piece of steel in here to hold the jacks. Because that's what's holding your jacks. See it? Gotta love that. Thank you, Lance. You are the bestest. I'm gonna buy a few of these and resell them. I wouldn't even want to be a Lance dealer. Well, actually I wouldn't want to be a dealer for any of them because they're all junk. They're all the same. The only thing that makes one different from the other, that sets them apart, is really the marketing. Whoever markets the best. I've had Winnebagos in here. In fact, there's one here. This thing, what a mess that is. You can watch that video when we get that posted. And all the other Winnebagos we've done, they all have roof issues. So then we're going to double check all this, make sure. He was saying he was having some issues with this right here being loose. So we're going to check all that. I don't know if it's just this little bit or what, but I'll check it and we'll take those bolts out. I think we got them out in the other one. This is my old dinosaur of a truck, 87 GMC. It's a 366 big block in it. It's just an old yard dog, that's all it is, but it's reliable. I put these truck bed campers on there because they're so heavy. I know they carry them around with F350s, but I know a lot of them beef up the suspension on the F350s with airbags or something. But I did put it on. I took one of these and put it on my old 2500, which is my yard dog right there, and it squashed the bejesus out of that thing. I called the guy up and says, how much does this thing weigh? He says like 4,200 pounds with all the junk he had in it. I was like, holy crap. So obviously I didn't continue with it. And we bought this truck here. When we got it in, I had to put it up on pallets in the first time, and then I bought this truck. But anyhow, that's my story about my big Jim. This one seems a little better than the front, and they do have a piece of wood going here, up here in the tube. There's a piece of wood in there. I don't know how far up it goes. So, but it looks like the bolts are right here, and there is a piece of wood right here, but my guess is even if that is the screw and there is a piece of wood there, chances are that's probably split. So I'm gonna see if I'll get a piece of steel or something and lace over that and then fasten and glue it all together and epoxy it in there. That'll be much better than what they got going on now. And then like I said, I'll figure the rest of this out. That's the elevation it's supposed to be. I don't know why there's a big chunk missing out of that one because there isn't one down the other end. So the next thing I'm gonna do too is I'm gonna try and measure the elevation from here to here and then measure the elevation down there and see if this is dropped. You know, to see if this is dropped below where it needs to be. I'm not sure, but that's, like you said, that's on. So I got to sit here and try and find out where it's supposed to be before I can actually put it all back together. But with all the delamination, that can cause these things to fall apart really bad. Just a little bit of water getting in there will loosen this, will loosen that. Next thing you know, everything's shifting. The other problem that these had is Lance mounts these right here. See if we can get another light up in here. See how they mount on the other side? So these are bolted. There is a piece of steel up behind here. Underneath the slide out, there's a piece of steel for the frame of the slide out frame. But what it's doing is it's pulling it down. It's pulling all that pressure down, which is, you know, stressing this out, which is causing the thing to kind of lean out this way. So there's nothing I can do about that, but I'll have to at least, if I put a piece of steel in here to strengthen it, there is a possibility I could move it out here to the piece of steel I put in there. And I'll check that out so it doesn't mess anything up when they, you know, go to load it on the truck. I wouldn't see how. because it's just a tie down. That's all it is. But I'm trying to eyeball down here and see how straight that is. Looks like it's got a little bit of bow in it, just a shade, but that's all it takes. Alright, well, Merry Christmas everybody. Let me get back to work. I think I figured that this was too low, and a couple of things have indicated that. Look at this screw right here. See, it's oblonged, that screw hole. If you look up underneath there, it was screwed to there and it tore out. That tore out. And also watch that arrow. And I'm just going to use this with my thumb. Watch that arrow. You can see it move ever so slightly. So when I measure this, and then down that other one, there's a 1/2 inch difference. So and there's your 1/2 inch right there. See to the center of that screw? So it's got it looks like it's got to go up at least 1/2 inch. At least that. And again, that's going to cause a lot of the sagging. But then, so there was a piece in here. We had to cut all that free because I could put a piece of steel in there. Here's a little piece of wood they put in there. That's it. Just that little old piece right there. So you can imagine if that was up in there like this. Right, you know that end is all split right there. I mean, actually, there's probably no wood in that. Not in that one. There's nothing there. You know, feels like a piece right here, but there's nothing there. So it's either all nothing there either. Nothing there either. So you can see a little piece of wood in there. See a little piece of wood. All right. Let me get back to investigating this while I listen to my Christmas music. Thought I was right, but I really need to come up flush with this because you got some trim on there. So let's go check that other side down there and get another jack on it. Put this back where it needs to be. That just shot right up there, and you see it's marrying back into that other piece right there. That's where it was supposed to be. Had a big gap there. Everything else looks like it's lining up nice now. All right, I'm waiting up. So I get this one back where it goes. I got this one back where it goes. Look at that gap. That is a heavy quarter. That's a real heavy quarter right there. You can see, is that 5/16 or so? It looks like quarter from the camera. So it tapers off, as you can see. So that thing's bowing. It's got a lot of stress on it. But we're gonna, like I said, put that piece of steel in there, and that should help it out. And then try to get all that back, this nonsense back together, and then we got to address the rest of it if he wants to. I don't know how much we're gonna do. Don't know yet. We're getting there. That's quite a bit though. Now that you see it this way, you go, wow, that's quite a bit. And you wouldn't think that that would be enough. But now keep in mind, this was down too. So that thing is, all it takes a little bit, and then when it comes out, it's gonna make it more than that. Because you got all that weight sitting out there, and it won't keep the whole thing aligned right. So, we're, let's slide this down, see what's going down the other end. Let's see some down here too. It looks like this whole main frame, because now I get the gap here, but you know, because it's only an 8 foot. If I come back right there, it doesn't look like it. But as I was standing here, I was noticing that this section right over this box is just kind of tapered down, this battery box. So I'll have to get this all right with some jacks before I set that other piece in there. Then I'm going to take that other piece up and see right in behind here. Let me see my hand. Right behind here, there's a metal frame. This is a metal frame right here, and I'm going to have to bolt it all into it to get it to stay. Because you can't take this out. I mean, it just, you'd have to tear half the coach apart just to get that out, and that isn't worth it. I'm not going to take the slide out. That isn't worth it either. I can do all this from underneath here. All that'll do is just add to the cost. We don't want to do that. So I can just I got these scissor jacks. I got a whole bunch of them. I can just put them all up underneath there, get that thing really nice, run it in and out a couple times, see if it's going to work better. And then if it does, we're off to the races. Now what I'm trying to show you is this is welded right here. If you don't know anything about welding, you have to weld both sides or there's no strength to it. I already pulled that one off on this side. It's just a pair of needle nose. If you don't know anything about welding, say they only welded one side, you have to weld both sides. There's no strength on that. You can pull it back. So I already took this one apart. Just had a little frame to it that was connected like this, and then this other one went over to it like this. We pulled this out of a coach and rebuilt it. But anyhow, So I got this one right here. See, there's no weld on that side. There's no weld there. There's no weld here. There's just that little weld. I got these little pair of, all they are needle nose pliers. Look at there, pop right off. You know, so I'm gonna clean this up. I gotta use this piece for something else. But if you don't know anything about welding, you have to weld both sides to get the strength. If you go against the weld, it'll pop loose every time. And that's how they build these things. They just put a snot weld here, even on the aluminum, little snot weld. And eventually they just start coming apart because there's no strength on the opposite side to kind of counteract it. So, but get them built, get them out, get them sold. This is our big beam that we got going in here. It's going in that coach right there, that truck bed camper. There's a lance. So what Lance didn't do is they didn't have enough strength on this corner in the back. You know, that's just aluminum. So that's just junk. So we're going to splice into it right here. That's what the legs are for. It'll sit on here and it'll carry the slide out. I've already tested it a couple of times. I showed you how warped out that thing was. But in the front though, I got to say, they got a heavy piece of steel right here, which is good. And it's an angle iron. So it goes over here as well. So it's going to catch all that, and then I'll have the steel in here. So I feel confident with that, but I'm still going to plate this over, just make sure everything stays together. I'm going to do all that. And the same with the back. So that tells me the opposite side over there, that jack right there, that tells me that's probably in pretty well. But the back side of the passengers is going to be the same. It's going to be the same mess. Right here. There's not enough strength in there for that one. That's why they all walk out on the back, especially the back end. Last one I did, I think we had to do them all. But anyhow, that's what we're working on. So I just painted that one up, and I just got to paint the other side. So I want to make sure we put it in. It's not going to get all rusty, right? So we'll do all that. And it shouldn't get rusty because we're going to have gaskets and everything. But nonetheless, I want to make sure it's all tight. And then we'll put it all back together. And then I'm going to stitch in the file on, we'll epoxy it all back together, and we'll get it looking pretty. So there's a lot of work to this little piece here to fabricate that up to make sure it works well. So but that's where we're at. Alright. Next update in a minute. Hey, look at all that boogerage. Boogerage! So there's the piece we're taking out. We're going to bond it to this one. That's the one that goes all the way down. Then I'll have that leg on there. That'll be bolted and everything will be bolted. It'll carry this, and even take with that little leg that I put on there, it'll take the stress off the bolts that I put in, even though they'll be oversized and they'll be really strong. But all this is rotted. It shouldn't be like this. Not at all. So anyhow, that's what we're working at. Look at here. This is the, see how it doesn't marry up? It's all not even. We're going to try and fix it, but that's the aluminum frame there. We're going to try and fix it, but it's not even. Let's see what we can do. Have to shim it out or something. Well, we got the back off of this here. You can see all the rot. We got some rot down here. And that piece looks pretty good. That one looks pretty good. Let's see what we got over here. Haven't checked around there. We may have some issues under that step, but that one down there is definitely rotted. So we got to tear that one out. Then going to put some stock in here so we can put our other leg in there. Going to put some more stock in there. And I'll double check all this mess here, make sure everything's good. And you see they didn't even glue that on there. I mean, it is right on that edge, and on here it looks like it's glued, but on the foam, if it was glued, it wouldn't come off that easy, and also you'd see it pulling the foam away. You can see how it was delaminated up there. So then in the front, we took the front piece off, and that's what the front looks like. And that's how they do there's really not a lot of support or strength in there, but up underneath on the top here, I think I showed you that, right up underneath there was had some rot in it. So we got to negotiate that. The rest of it's stuck, so I'm trying not to tear all that apart. Right there on his shoulder around here on the inside, that's rotted. Same mirror image over here, that's rotted under there and up underneath here. So Alright, so that's what we're going to try and do. We'll figure out how we're going to get it back. You know, where and how we're going to do our surgery to get in there to fix it. Alright, this is our back of our lance. So you can see we made some repairs on the, you know, the lumber. Made some repairs. It's just a little bit of water stain. That's no big deal. We got everything taped off because we're going to laminate that piece on there. It wasn't laminated before, and we're going to do that. Then we'll laminate the siding back on. We got some extra stock in behind all this to carry the jacks and everything, so we did that too. So make sure those screws held on real good on those, you know. But that's what we're doing right now, getting this ready to go. More delam on our lance. Can't get away from it. Gee whiz. So it's going up here. We thought it was just down this lower portion, and we discovered all this mess. So we got to peel her back, clean her up, and try to get stuck back in there. Gee whiz. That's what happens. You go along, you go, hey, this is all I got. You don't know until you open it up. So, alright, well, that's what we're working on. That's the mess we got so far. Alright, so we peeled up this side here. Well, we got the clean stock up on the top. That's the good stuff. This was all rotted, so we're obviously putting in a new piece. I already got it glued. I'm just waiting for the glue to flash off. Over here, there is some steel behind there, and I said, the heck with it. I've already done all three sides. I'm going to do it so I don't have any issues with it at all. So we've got it all leashed in, and we get the same flange underneath here that holds this up. Then what we're going to be putting in are these 1/2-inch bolts. So if it's going to break loose with 4 of those 1/2-inch bolts and come apart, plus we also lashed it to the steel behind there. I've already got it there as well. Brought it in there. See, I've got the bolts here too. I got 3 on this side, 4 on the front. That seems to be the heaviest one. And then I got 4 on this back side. So there's 7 of those 1/2-inch bolts all the way around, all of these. So we got all that together. Now we're just working on, like I said, the phylon was failed up. I'll even go up front here. You can see what we're doing. We got this one here already done. We just got to fill it in with some phylon. But all that was all rotted, all of it. So we've got that all pulled back. And then I made a new radius for this. I'll show you that after a while. See all that foam? We got to reskin all that, and that's what we're working on now. And then there was also some up underneath there. I showed you that earlier. And then this one here as well. So there's quite a bit, and a lot of it had probably failed from that corner mold coming in. And then I made a better radius in the front so it'll have more strength. And we'll leash all that together in there. And that ought to get us pretty good. But I'm going to glue that now that I've already got it. That isn't the customer's truck, if you're wondering. That's my truck. I just use it to tote these ones around. I actually bought it just for that. It's just an old GMC. But some people say, wow, I can't believe you're driving around with that old thing. No. So I'm just, this is about ready now. It's all tacky, so I'm just going to put it together. But like I said, you can see all the big steel and the bolts that we got that are pulling it into that frame. So one of the issues that was causing this to fail is that the bolts that they had going through, there wasn't enough stock to hold that screw to be strong enough. The little screws that they put in, that's why it kept failing. So we just added a lot more strength to it by putting it in this way. So it should be good to go. This is the front of the camper right here. This is the front part. This is the bunk. But the way they had this, they just had it like that, hollowed out. They have this insulation in there. That's all they had. So we thought it'd be a good idea to add some insulation in there. That's what we got in there. Then we're going to put our another piece on here. We got all that. We just want to make sure it has some good insulation in it. Doesn't make sense to have those hollows in there just vacant, you know. Now it would be a little warmer and cooler when he needs it. All right, we built a new radius. You can see that in the pink. And now we're going to get the sheet metal around here to cover all that. And we're going to glue it in, and she'll be ready to go. All right, so when we originally looked at this, right in this corner, we thought we had just a little bit of delam. Just a little bit. We were hoping we could just come in, kind of just stress this out, put a new piece in, clean this. But as you can see, it's rotted all the way back there. On this side, it's 16 inches. So we're just going to have to, we're not going to be able to salvage all this. We're just going to have to cut it and then probably put, you know, maybe put a decal on it or something. It's either that or we take the whole bunk out. Take the whole bunk out to redo it. And it's just this section. You can see in there, way back there, that's good. This is all rotted up in here. So we're going to take that. So once we release that, we can put a new piece in get a new piece of Phylon, which is this material here, your siding, that's called Phylon. So, and down there it's not as much, but we're gonna just have to make a nice square cut. And if we do it good enough, maybe we can put a black decal stripe all the way down, like kind of shaping all the way down like that. That's about all I can do to save, you know, try to save some money on the project. So you can see we got all our radius all put together. This radius is off. It's off 3/4 of an inch from that one. So when you measure it from the top and come on down, it's a different measurement from here all the way down. So you got to kind of work with all that to get it there. That's for sure. But this one, this is about a foot, I guess. Let's see up inside there. It's about a foot. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to just make a cut. And then after we make that cut, like I said, clean it up, put a new piece in. Again, we'd be chasing it, so that's the plan. But originally we had just thought, like I said, like in this little corner right here, like right in here, just this little bit. Just this little bit. But nope, it went all the way back there. So, and that's why you need to have these corner molds. These are corner molds that come around. If you have one of these on a Class C or even on one of these, if you have them around a bunk, they need to be sealed good, like real good. So that's where a lot of that damage probably come from. So all this is really tight. So see, like how we have our sheet metal right here. You can see that little gap right up in there. See it? That's because this doesn't want to shape out the same way because it's thinner, and you can't get that metal to shrink down. You can't do that. So we'll end up fixing that too and putting it all back together. So we have something solid behind there, but everything else is all good up there. You saw the other day we put some insulation in there. Well, it wasn't the other day; it was yesterday. But we put some insulation in there and got that all tight, and all this is all glued in, so it's really good. And then we, like I said, I actually, to be honest with you, I forgot. I was like, oh man, I got to fix this corner. And then when I started investigating it, like I said, it ran all the way down here. You can see it all the way down there. See all that rot? And even the owner didn't realize it was that far back. He just thought it was in here because it was more soft here. But look at all that. That's all T-lammed. We got to take that out and do it right. So that's the plan, Stan. So let us get to work and get her done. Just going to give you a better view of the rot. So we're just starting to fillet it off. That's one of the rotted pieces right here. So this part down here wasn't also rotted, but I still got to get a new piece in it. So I got to fillet it off. And then I got to get all that rot off of there. And we'll just put a nice square piece in there. We'll put it in there, and then we'll put another piece of Phylon on top of it and get it all epoxied in and everything. Alright, so we got the new piece in, and now we're going to put another piece of Phylon on there, and that's what we're gluing now. So you can see some of the green on there. That's the adhesive. And once we stick her, she'll be good to go. And then all we're going to have to do is try to seal that joint up pretty good. Maybe put a decal on it or something to conceal it a little bit. Alright, now we're on the driver's side. You can see how much rot we got up underneath there. And it's starting to get to be good stock right up in there. So, but you can see all that rot right there. So now we got to fillet this off, put a new piece like we did on the other side, and then put a new piece of Phylon over here, and she's good to go. Alright, we are done. We're just going around right now doing a prudent check on some caulkings and stuff. But everything's all set. You can see we got these mounted in here, all sealed up. All these bolts right here. Those are big 1/2-inch bolts that we put in. So there's plenty. You got 1, 2, 3 on that side, then you got 4 on this side. So there's a big piece of steel in there. And we did the same thing over here. All of them are like that. So now, like I said, we're just going over everything. There's a couple of scars that we had here, but we can't do much with them. Going to probably have to get a decal on it. And we tried to clean these up. I really wanted to try to get them clean, but gee whiz, you'd end up having to literally scrape them all down, and that's a lot of work right there. Went around the doors, went around the windows. I mean, we went around and made sure everything was sealed up. Even went around this here, and we tried to come down here. There was old caulking in there. Like I said, for us to dig all that out was a boatload of work. So you can see we sealed all this. That's just clear that we used on here. Some of it, because we use the white, sometimes it has such a sharp contrast to it, it just doesn't look good. So sometimes we use clear so it doesn't look so bad. And then again, you got these three bolts. They go into there is a steel frame back there that I found. So I was able to utilize those because they're pretty strong and they snugged right up. Then I still got my 4 1/2-inch bolts here, and this one over here on the passenger side, that's a twin, same way. And everything else, like I said, we had it even up underneath here. I don't know if you can see that too well, but we epoxied all that back together with some white epoxy. Went around, obviously, all around the coach here, or excuse me, the bunk. Went around there. So this side was off 3/4 of an inch. It was really bad. This side was 3/4 of an inch different over there. I think I had mentioned that. And so we filled it with epoxy in here. That's the best we can do. And again, we sealed it, but even underneath this caulking is all epoxy. So we got all that in there. And again, may have to, maybe if he wanted to, we could probably put another decal on there or something. But otherwise, she's looking good. She's ready to go. I don't know if you can see much up underneath there. We have the same scar right here because remember we had to take all that out and you know, fix all that because it was all rotted. And and then there's a couple other little ones around the coach. You know, like there's one here, I think. I'm going to show you if I can find it. Look at there, right here in front of my face, right here. So that was, when these get dried out, it's hard to, you know, sometimes they crack. It just happens. So we folded this back in, and then, but if we didn't, and we put a new piece on, then you'd lose all your logo and everything. That's nothing. I didn't even notice it right off the rip. So, but like I said, there's a couple more around like that, real small ones. And who knows? It could have been a tree branch or whatever that might have hit it. But if we saw it, we just epoxied it and put it all back. So that's our lance. But gee whiz, there's a lot of work on this thing. There really was. So same thing over here. Like I was telling you, we got these 3 bolts that go into the steel plate, but that steel plate's way back here. And I wanted to make sure, so the plate I put in, that big piece of steel, is leashed all the way into there, which screws like it should be. And then I tapped and put the 1/2-inch ones on the other side. I get around this ladder. But I already showed you on the other side, it's the same animal. Right there, you can see the 4 that I put in there. So and then again, we sealed everything here, and everything's all sealed. So we're just getting ready to get it delivered. You can see we got it already dropped off the truck, obviously. And so she's about to say goodbye. So keep in mind, these are not DIY videos. None of my videos are DIY videos. We put these together for the customer. We don't monetize them either because, you know, customer wants to watch what we did to their coach. They want a commercial every 6 minutes on YouTube. That's ridiculous. So we demonetized everything. So we don't make a penny off of this. So we post them, like I said, for the customer. But again, they're not DIY. There's a lot to do with these. And some guys go, man, I've been doing construction for whatever. And I can't tell you how many guys I've run out of this shop because they claim that they know what they're doing and they just can't figure common sense stuff out. I mean, it's crazy. But, and, you know, and it's a shame, like I said, that the guys can't pick it up like that, but there's just that much work to it. Every little detail counts. So if we tried to take this radius, for instance, over to there, and when you take that radius, if you would have tried to get it to be different than what, if it's not even, that's not going to lay right. You'll have a bubble in it. So that's why you end up with it. But we measure, you have to measure every single thing. I mean, it's to make sure everything's going to line up, and again, especially on the radius. But like I said, you know, at the risk of sounding like a jerk or something, I'm not trying to be that. But these aren't DIY videos, and I have guys calling me up and everything. How do you do this? How do you do that? How do you do this? And I don't want to give out the wrong information because I don't see what you're working on, and there may be something else that may need to be attended to before this happens and before that happens for the whole project to come to complete. And I had one guy, he just hemmed and hawed about, you know, I gave him some advice on how to glue some sheathing back to the foam. And evidently he wasn't doing it right or holding his mouth right, but he sent me a couple of, you know, not ugly emails or texts rather, or he just didn't sound like he was all so happy. But, you know, again, I can't see what the heck he's doing, what kind of foam he's using, but, you know, I know what we use and I know how much it costs. So you're not going to end up going to buy, you're not going to buy a $500 jug of adhesive to do this, I'm sure, because that's what I spend on them. But anyhow, you know, we appreciate you watching and all, and you can obviously see more videos on there. And if you pick up some tips, that's awesome. But we appreciate you watching.